Okay, it's time to play some fighting games and answer some questions. If you're wondering which side I'm on, it's the side with Android 21 and Broly. We brought her back, no more betrayal for the waifu. First up, do you think Overwatch, and to some extension Blizzard, will ever figure out what to do with Roadhog? No, all the current evidence points to no, they won't. Even if... I feel like the answer is so simple, which is just to put more damage on the hook rather than the scrap gun, but hey, you know, we'll probably never get there. Like, no company ever knows what to do with the hook heroes, because the hook heroes are usually very contentious as far as community reaction goes, so, you know, it tends to go this way a lot. I remember when Blitzcrank got to be, like, a good hero before he could, like, literally hook twice before being out of mana completely. Good times. So no, to be honest, probably not. Even though he's like a pretty straightforward hero, it clearly doesn't look like we know what we're doing, so anyway. Next, when will Trilby first attend me in Dragon Ball Fighterz? Whenever you want, brother. Anytime, any place. But bring your A game, because I'm gonna drop a lot of combos, and if you don't capitalize on them, we're gonna both be really upset about it. Next, in your last Fight Night video, you said anyone should be able to reach platinum with assumptions like regular play. What's good regular play? I often only play a couple/few times a week, but try to play a lot more during those days I do play. So, to be fair, I feel like I had phrased that very badly in the previous video. What I meant by that was more just like, if you're playing really regularly, you should be able to get to platinum within like 50 hours, but that was with the assumption that you're playing more or less every day. Or very close to it anyway. Like, anybody can get to platinum, it's just the amount of time it's gonna take you, you know? Like, if you can play, like, every single day, it's gonna be faster. If you're just playing, like, a few times a week, but you're still playing, like, a few games during that period, that's fine. Like, as long as you're not, like, taking, like, multiple weeks in a row where you're not playing the game, you'll be fine, you'll get there. You know, it's just one of those things where the more often you can play regularly, the better. So, like, if you end up taking a couple days out, then that's gonna affect how long it takes, compared to if you do it every single day. But as long as you're still playing like a few times a week, you'll still definitely get there. It'll just take longer versus someone who can play every day, but also at the same time, that's like, duh, obviously, right? So that was more what I meant in the last videos. Like, you could get there in like 50 hours if you're playing like every day, more or less. But I didn't really phase that very well in that video, so I do regret that one. But that's what I meant with that one. If you're just playing, like, you'll be fine. You'll get there. Don't worry about it, brother. It's still more about mentality when it comes to learning, but like, the more you can play, the better. But you'll still be fine as long as you're playing regularly. Next up, we got 3 Deadeye questions in a row. Does damage boost increase the charge time of Deadeye? This being the damage charge up while you're channeling Deadeye, not the alt charge gain. Yes, it does. Next, if Deadeye charge speed is indeed affected by damage boost, does its effect persist even if it's not applied at the moment McCree shoots? Example, Mercy disconnects Blue Beam or Supercharge Nano runs out before McCree shoots. Basically saying, like, does it lose the charge it's already gained from that damage boost if you stop? The answer is no, it doesn't. It will retain the damage boost you already gave it. Which would be really fucked up if it didn't, to be honest, even though that would be the more logical way for it to work. But no, it does persist. And then next, does damage boosted Deadeye eliminate a target without a skull appearing on that target? No, the skull has to be there for it to kill. Next, how do you deal with throwing games / de-escalating a fight in chat? You can't. It's not gonna happen. Not gonna convince anybody of anything in the middle of a game. It's just not gonna happen, and it's not worth the attempt unless you just enjoy fighting. Like I do. I'll fight with people all the time because I just enjoy fighting with people, but there is logically no reason for you to do it outside of that. You'll never convince somebody to stop throwing a game if they started, and you'll never de-escalate a fight in chat because it's just not how people are. It's just not how it works. The thing is, as we know, people are extraordinarily stupid. So this is a problem. And then the other problem is that, like, if people are already getting angry, you saying anything to them is more likely to make it worse than better. They're not currently in a mindset where they're going to listen to you, no matter how masterfully formulated your arguments are. It just won't work. We'll be coming back to this later, but, like, you can bust out as many well-reasoned arguments and facts as you want, but, like, that doesn't change the fact that, like, flat earthers and anti-vaxxers exist, right? Doesn't matter how good your arguments are, they'll only get you so far. If some dude ain't gonna listen to you, some dude ain't gonna listen to you. We'll be coming back to this argument later in a future question today. But you're never gonna convince anybody anything, so, like, all you can do is, like, mute the guy and then move on. You know, if he starts slowing the game, he's not gonna stop. Like, there's just, I'm trying to, in my head, imagine somebody, like, picking Sombra and throwing themselves off the map, you know, like, legitimately hard throwing the game, and then being able to present an argument that was good enough to make that guy go, oh yeah, you're right, I should stop doing that, and then them stopping. Like, once they've gone down that line that they're doing it, they're not gonna stop. Like, would you want to stop after you'd started, you know? You'd have to admit some very uncomfortable things about yourself to suddenly stop doing this, right? So, like, it's not gonna happen. And people will fight about fucking anything, dude. Like, people love to fight. They'll fight about any old shit. So, like, you can't do it. Just GG. Go next, is basically it. Next up. Is Genji worth picking anymore compared to the hitscan heroes? It's kinda hard to justify it. After they gave him that damage boost on his right click, he was, like, tearing it up for a little while in there. But now, with that having been toned back down, is not really much reason. Ashe did get nerfed, so that's nice, I guess. But, like, realistically, not really. Like, here's, like, the main problem with Genji, right? Is that, like, there is no problem he fixes, right? Like, there's no situation where you really go, the perfect pick to solve this problem is Genji. The closest you get is, like, trying to bully a sniper. But, like, even then, Genji's not really the best hero for that job most of the time, right? Like, the best heroes for that job are, like, DPS-wise, like, Doomfist or another sniper, right? So, like, even in the cases where it's like, oh yeah, this is the situation you'd pick Genji to counter something, it's like that counter is still better served by a different hero. And that's the thing with Genji, right? Is that there's, like, there's no situation you're like, yeah, I'll pick him to solve this problem. We'll come to Soldier later as well, but, like, Soldier is generally considered to be pretty poor compared to, like, other heroes in the game, especially compared to, like, the other hitscan heroes. But, like, he still solves a problem, right? Where, like, you need to break some shields. You can pick Soldier, and he's pretty good at breaking shields, right? You need to harass a Pharah. Soldier will harass the Pharah. You know, there's problems in the game that picking Soldier can contribute to solving. But Genji, it's like, not really. And you need to be really good at Genji to really solve those problems anyway, right? Like, if you're playing Genji to counter a Hanzo or an Ashe, if you aren't, like, pretty good at Genji, you're not gonna counter them anyway. They're just gonna, like, kinda not care about you. How many times have you, like, been playing, like, Ana or something, and there's been a Genji, like, around you trying to shoot you, but, like, he's so bad that you can just kind of ignore him, right? I've been in this situation quite a lot of times where I'm playing, like, a long-range hero, and Genji is actively trying to kill me right now, but I can just ignore him because he's so bad. And then eventually I hear him pull out Dragon Blade out of the corner of my ear, I was gonna say, which is a stupid sentence. But I'll hear him pull out Dragon Blade because he just got mad that I've been ignoring him for this long. Especially someone like Soldier. You just dance around in the biotic field like, yeah, whatever, Genji will get bored and go away eventually. So, like, that's, like, kind of the thing with Genji, you know? It's, like, what's the strong thing about Genji, right? It's Dragon Blade. Dragon Blade, right now, tends to not get a whole lot of value, to be perfectly honest with you. 'Cause, like... Well, right now, Zenyatta's becoming more popular again, so that makes it, like, a problem. But it's like... As people have gotten better at the game, Dragon Blade has become less good. It's still a good ultimate, but it's not as good as it used to be. Because now it's like, more minor forms of CC are enough to stop Dragon Blade actually getting a whole lot of value unless nano boosted, and sometimes even them. Right, like with like Ashe being really popular, and Widowmaker being really popular, and Hanzo being really popular, and Ana being really popular, and we've gone back to like having Rhyme Zarya again. There's enough stuff in the game that can make life difficult for Genji that like his main thing, Dragon Blade, isn't much guarantee anymore unless you get nano boosted, and not necessarily even them. So... you end up with this situation where, like, Genji just doesn't have a whole lot to do, and the thing that he is really, or was really good at doing, is kind of a non-factor anymore, because the other thing Genji is good at doing is finishing off low-health targets. The problem is that there's so much burst healing in the game right now, or, like, there's, as time goes by, there becomes more and more healing in the game, that, like, he can't reliably do that anymore, because, like, if somebody over there is 100 health, well, Ana just, like, splashes him and he's back to full health again, you know? There's like, it's pretty easy to pick somebody back up to full health pretty quickly, so, like, and that's not something that's ever really gonna get better, right? I really wish that this wasn't the case, is that, like, I feel like both healing and damage in Overwatch is way too high, because it creates the... healing in this game is really high. And that creates the situation where you need to burst somebody from full to dead, because if you don't, they just... becomes impossible to heal, or impossible to kill them, because suddenly they're just healing way too much to kill them anymore. This is a problem Soldier has, which is that he has trouble finishing people off because he does more consistent damage. His only burst is Helix Rocket, so he has trouble, like, securing kills on people. But like, the problem with that is damage also needs to be really high to compensate for this fact, so it just creates these situations where, like, people go life, death, life, death, life, death, life, death. I wish this wasn't the case. I wish healing and damage were lower, so, you know, I basically wish the time to kill in the game was higher, and healing was lowered as well, but this is not the way the game will trend. There's no way. So, this is not a problem that'll ever be solved, but, like, it's an issue for somebody like Genji. He needs to, like, burst people to death, and, you know, it's hard for Genji to do that. In conclusion, there's not really much reason to pick Genji over the hit-scan heroes right now, unless you just really like Genji. This remains the consistent factor in video games, right? If you just really like Genji, play Genji. Right? Like, just play Genji. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. It's a video game. Play the heroes that you like to play. But if you're looking for, like, the strict, like, advantage over other heroes, like, you're purely a facts-driven player. Like, what's my highest chance of winning here? There's really no reason to pick Genji. He's just outclassed by a lot of other heroes right now. So, next up. Is Soldier a bad pick? So we've come back to it very quickly, as you can see. So Soldier is a hero that scales very poorly, right? And so you climb in rank. In low rank, Soldier's really good. I think he is one of the best heroes in the game that you can play to climb while also trying to improve your aim at the same time. Like, he's a very good climbing hero because he's very versatile. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. Which makes him very good for low ranks, where you frequently need to cover a variety of roles, right? You can't rely on your tanks to create space for you, and you can't rely on your healers to heal for you. The Soldier fills this hole by being longish range, not sniper range, but one tier below it, and also has his own source of healing. So, Soldier is very good for low ranks, and then as you climb, Soldier's effectiveness slowly goes down and down and down. Because as you climb, people get better at playing Widowmaker and Ashe, who just are better than Soldier, pretty much. Because if you're talking long-range DPS, there is, assuming you're equally good at Widowmaker, Ashe, and Soldier, there's no reason to pick Soldier over the other two. The other two outclass him as far as long-range hit-scan DPS go. But this is assuming you're equally good at all of them, right? So in low ranks, where people are bad at clicking on people, Soldier is good because he is, and while you're trying to improve your aim as well, Soldier will be good. Because you can contest these long-range hit scan fine, because they're not likely to just one-shot kill you. But as you get higher and higher, those people get better and better, and so they just start outclassing you on Soldier just because of the hero. And there's nothing really you can do about that. If you're playing Soldier against a Widow that can very reliably headshot you, there's nothing you can do about that situation as Soldier, really. So you just kind of eat shit. So Soldier's really good low ranks, but he starts falling off very quickly as you climb in ranks. And eventually like, once you get to, like, probably Diamonds, the Soldier is still playable, but he's, like, right at the edge at that point. And once you get to, like, Masters GM, I think it becomes nigh impossible to justify picking Soldier anymore, because you will just get clapped by the other hit scan DPS. Maybe there's some, like, niche edge case situations where Soldier will be better, but very, very rarely at very high ranks. But until you get to, like, Diamond, you'll be fine playing Soldier. He is definitely fine up until, like, that point, and that's when you're gonna start seeing, like, really diminishing returns on him as a pick. It's just a problem of, like, it's not really, like, I don't know how you'd fix this, because it would require a fairly dramatic shift in Soldier's kit, I feel. It's just that he's really well-rounded, which is, like, good. I think that's fine, because there has to always be, like, a hero that's good to learn, right? Like, some heroes, I feel like you need to have some heroes that are good to learn the game on, but they are outclassed by most other heroes, but you need, like, a good entry-level hero, right? Soldier is a really good entry-level hero, especially if you have experience playing, like, other first-person shooters. Like, if you've played, like, Call of Duty before, you're gonna pick Soldier, and you're gonna pretty much get it immediately, right? Like, it's a very similar play style. And he's just really well-rounded. He doesn't have many glaring weaknesses, but he doesn't have very many strengths either. It makes him a good entry hero, and I feel like you need to have people like that. So I don't know what you'd really do with Soldier to change that, like, to keep him well-rounded, but then also have him, like, scale up. I don't think you really can do anything about it, but I also don't think you need to do anything about it. I feel like Soldier is actually fine as he is, because I'm okay with some heroes being worse than other heroes, so they can be a good learning hero. I'm fine with that, personally. So I don't actually think you need to do anything to, like, fix Soldier, quote-unquote, because I feel like he fulfills what he needs to. But yeah, you're gonna find really diminishing returns on Soldier as you climb in rank. How have we been here? I feel like I talked about those two for a while. 20 minutes? We're doing good. We're doing good. We're like right on course right now. Amazing. Next up. How do I help my friend understand that he's not as good as he thinks he is, and is also not held back by Hilo Hell? So this is where I was gonna come back to it with the flat earthers and the anti-vaxxers, right? Because the top comment in this thread was a guy saying, so my coach said to me something to the effect of, you know, there are anti-vaxxers and flat earthers in existence. Facts and logics don't get you anywhere with people. That's exactly how it is. If this dude genuinely believes in Elo Hell, what are you gonna do? That is legitimately like arguing with a flat earther or an anti-vaxxer, you know? They believe something is true that isn't. There's only so much you can say to try and convince that person, and in all likelihood, you probably won't convince them. Unfortunately. You know? What can you do? Like, you can try and bust out some fairly typical arguments, which is like, well, if Elo Hell exists, why are people able to go from bronze to GM in like 100 games, you know? This is a bit of an exaggeration, but you know, you can make that kind of argument with them, but generally when you make that kind of argument with people, they go, ah, well, they're just really lucky. As if this is some kind of, like, easily quantifiable fact. Ah, yes, they just exploit luck very consistently, right? It's weird to think that. I got into this argument, like, a really long time ago, with Hearthstone, when I still played that game, and my friends did. And, my friends were, very, very much like, Hearthstone's all RNG, there's nothing you can do, right? You're just relying on your cards, your draws being good, and I'm like, alright, well, explain the existence of pro players, and they just said they're really lucky. And I said, alright, well, explain the existence of pro poker players, right? That is a game that should logically be entirely luck, which is not an easily consistently exploitable feature of life, right? You can't just go, I'm gonna go get really lucky right now and do it. So explain the existence of pro poker players. There's obviously a skill in here, isn't there? It's not just all luck. But, you know, they remained unconvinced and remained convinced that Hearthstone is 100% luck. Which, I mean, you know, if you are really lucky, that's great for you. But no, even in a card game, skill is still an important feature. Like, you know, you can still be better at a card game than other people are. So, like, you know, you can't convince these people of things, and I know this because I've seen this argument myself, and they will just turn to you and go, they're just really lucky. Which is, of course, absurd, but, yeah. Oh, yeah, this guy played almost the same team as me, but I would never play GT Goku, because I'm not a disgusting animal. See, that's how you know it's not me. So, like, there's not much you can do to convince these people. As an aside, it would be really funny. This would be a great video series. Would be to watch somebody that is convinced Elo Hell exists, to watch them play on a, we'll just say diamond, you know, but anything a diamond or above. Just watch somebody who is genuinely convinced Elo Hell exists play on a diamond plus account for like a week. That would be an incredible video series to watch. I feel like it would just be really funny, basically. There'd be, like, no practical learning value out of this. It would just be really funny to watch someone who thinks Elo Hell exists, like, try and argue their way out of why they're still doing badly in, like, Diamond Plus, where their teammates obviously have to be good, but they still can't win for some reason. That would be fucking incredibly entertaining to watch. That would be a great video series. Someone should do that. I don't know anybody who is convinced Elo Hell exists, but that would be fucking incredible to watch. Yeah, so, like, there's not much you can really do to convince this person. You're more or less just hoping that eventually they kind of realize they're stupid. Because there's only so many arguments you can realistically make about this, which basically involves pointing at other people and going, well, look at this observable evidence to the contrary of what you're saying. But they will find a way to talk out of that. They always do. As evidenced by the flat earthers who almost, like, if you watch any video about flat earthers, dude, it's fucking astounding. They'll disprove themselves in the video and then still keep talking as if it doesn't matter. Because, like, this is some deep flat earther lore for you right here, but, like, the original video series that, like, got people into flat earthing is incredibly stupid. But in this video, he starts talking about flight paths, which is one of the common ones they go with. And he says, well, it doesn't make any sense for this plane to take this route, because if you went like this instead, if you just went in a straight line, it would make way more sense, but they don't do that. But if you look on the flat Earth map, suddenly the way they go makes complete sense. But then they will find a flight path that does contradict this, and then they'll go, but I don't think that flight actually exists. So they'll disprove themselves, and then go, anyway. You know, like the meme, Jeremy Clarkson, oh no! So anyway, they just keep going. It's incredible. It's absolutely astonishing to watch people disprove themselves and still just keep going anyway. Anyway, so there's not much you can really do to convince people, usually. If they think Elo Hell exists, they think that something that doesn't exist, exists. So, you kind of just hoping, really, that they realize they're stupid, which I'd like to think most people eventually realize they're stupid, but, there's no evidence to back this up. If anything, there's an overwhelming amount of evidence to the contrary, so sorry. I hope your friend gets better. Mentally, mostly. Anyway, so next up, and this is the last question for this week, is how to rank up as a healer in Ranked. I was convinced I was reading that wrong, because it was a poorly formatted sentence, really, but no, that is how it was written. So, there's a thing with healing, right? Which I have observed with all healers. I noticed this most strikingly with Moira, but I have found this to be basically true with all healers, which is really low-rank players for healers spend their time contributing essentially 0 damage to the team, and they really start seeing higher returns once they start trying to do more damage to the enemy team. Because here's the thing, it's actually the support category, not the healer category. And the only thing you have to do to be supporting your team is trying to make them win. And this can obviously be healing, but killing the other team is also a pretty good way of contributing to your team winning. So, I think most healers would find some decent returns immediately in low ranks by just trying to do more damage. Because, of course, they have low-rank healers are generally very afraid of not healing enough. Moira players have it beaten into them that they should be healing and not damaging people, which usually results in Moira players playing extremely badly and never having any resource because they're so petrified of being called a DPS Moira that they will spend no time sipping the enemy team, and they will therefore have no resources and be unable to heal their team as well, because shockingly enough, doing damage is a core part of Moira's kit that most new Moira players are flat out told to ignore, which is extremely bad advice, but is what is given to Moira players very frequently. So try and do more damage. That will show you some returns, I think, immediately. Obviously, some heroes will have an easier time doing this. Moira has doing damage as a core part of her kit. Ana is pretty easy to contribute extra damage, even just by, like, throwing bio grenades aggressively. That's good enough for Ana, because bio grenade is just a disgustingly strong ability. So try and contribute more damage to your team, especially if you play like Moira and Ana. If you play someone like Mercy, obviously you don't really get many opportunities to do that, but if you still spot an opportunity where you think you could kill someone, you can fucking go and try and kill that boy. Killing someone remains one of the most impactful things you can do in the entire game. So the really big thing that is hard to give set rules for with healers is comes down to prioritization of resources, right? Because you only have so many resources to contribute to the game, so you want to ensure that they're being contributed in meaningful ways. And this is hard to give set rules for, but imagine with me that you're playing Ana, and you're watching your man play Diva, Hammond, doesn't really matter. Imagine you're watching your man play a tank, and you're trying to heal this person, and they are just, like, not using cover, they're standing out in damage, they're taking a fuck ton of damage. You're spending a lot of time healing them, they're dying or, like, losing their mech anyway, despite you healing them. This person is an extremely poor place to be putting your resources, because you can only be doing so many things at one time, and you don't want to be putting your resources in dead ends. Like, if somebody on your team is contributing nothing or virtually nothing to the game, you healing them is at best a suboptimal use of resources, and at worst, a complete waste of time that could be losing you the game. Because you could be spending this time healing that Diva that is contributing nothing except a lot of ult charge to the enemy team. Or you could be spending that time instead pocketing this Ashe over here, who is actually like the best player on your team and is like contributing far more to creating space than anyone else, just because they're threatening. So, this is the thing, that, like, healers, at least when they're starting, I think they stop being this way once they've been exposed to the folly of humanity enough, but at least early on, they have this idea, and people try and tell healers this as well. I've talked about this before, where, like, healers think they need to be really altruistic and self-sacrificing, and they need to be going out of their way to, like, try and keep people alive, even in the worst of situations. When, in the reality, fuck them. It's not worth you, like, risking your life to try and keep somebody alive when they're doing something stupid. Similarly, it's not worth your time to try and keep somebody alive when they're just doing nothing but contributing to the enemy team's ult charge. There's no reason to do it. There's no reason other than some false sense of, like, morality. Like, no, you're wasting your time trying to keep that guy alive. You might be killing yourself trying to keep him alive, because if that dude's out of position and you're going out of your way to try and heal him, it's a fucking waste of time, and it's risking your life to do it. Don't fucking bother. That guy's not worth it. You're more important than he is. Your time is worth more than he is. So, like, it's really hard to give set rules for, like, prioritization stuff, but, like, if you feel like somebody on your team is contributing very little to you winning the game, you should try and commit as little resources to them as you possibly can. I'm not saying you should just let that guy die. I'm not saying you should just, like, leave him off in the lurch completely and never heal him, but you should be doing the bare minimum to this person, right? You should be trying to make sure he lives when you can, but outside of that, if there is, like, virtually anything else you could be doing with your time, you should be doing that instead, because it is probably going to increase your chances of winning more than trying to keep this dumbass alive when he just doesn't even know what cover is. So, like, you know, it's really about where you put your resources more than anything else, because you only get so many. This is very, very important for somebody like Mercy, where you are trying to damage boost people as much as you can. Like, that's, like, the main way, that's the main utility Mercy has to contribute to games, is damage boost, because it's really strong. Damage boost is a very strong utility. But if you're spending time if you're spending a lot of time trying to keep somebody alive when they're doing some shit, that is a catastrophic waste of resources. Because the time you spend healing this dumbass's Mercy is time you spend not damage boosting your Ashe or your Widowmaker, right? It's terrible. So if you can, like, get away with not healing that guy as much as you can as Mercy, fucking do it, because there are people you could be damage boosting instead. You only have so many resources. You should be trying to put it in the best possible places you can. Don't invest in dead ends. Like, don't invest in the dumbass that thinks Elo Hell exists, is basically the summation of it. But, like, this is something you'll mostly have to feel out. Hard and set rules for prioritization are extremely hard to give. Just try and think about who is contributing the most to the game, and try and invest as much as you can in your best player, and as little as you can in your worst player. Again, don't just completely ignore the worst player. Try and keep him alive, but invest bare minimum. And try and invest the maximum you possibly can in your best player instead. That's a better use of resources and is more likely to win you the game. And that's like the best advice, basically. Try and do more damage and think about how you're investing your resources. And that's all I got for you, really. And that's it for the questions, so now you just have to wait for this game to end. So yeah, you know, not many people play Android 21. And Android 21 is still my most played character by far. So basically I was just like, I gotta do it. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. If you're gonna play the unpopular character that you really like, you know, you gotta do it. You gotta commit. So then I was presented with the situation of like, all right, well, I really like Kefla, and I really like Broly, so I gotta pick the one I like more. And you know, Broly's still a hype beast. Broly's still a hype beast. So Broly's the one we went with, because of course we gotta play Roshi still, okay? Look, we still gotta play him. He's still really fucking hard, and I still haven't gotten over my bad habit that is punished by him not having a super dash, but, you know, we gotta do it. We gotta do it. We gotta do it. It's just gotta be done. Even if it's really fucking sad sometimes. Roshi's just really fucking hard, dude. Someone I watched put it well when they were like, he's like a real fighting game character instead of a Dragon Ball FighterZ character, which is pretty accurate. Which is basically them saying Dragon Ball Fighter characters are really fucking easy compared to most fighting games. And you know, I started trying to play Tekken. Tekken's fucking hard, dude. There's a lot of shit going on with those characters. Those characters are way deeper than Dragon Ball FighterZ characters are. And it's scary and it's hard. Yeah. Anyway. So thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. More than happy to answer. If you have a question you would like to see answered on the show, post it in Discord, post a comment, send an email, smoke signals, seismic tremors, psychic waves, whatever you want. I started streaming on Twitch Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 p.m. EST till 11 EST. There's a link to the channel in the description. If you managed to make it all the way through the video and still enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe for more content of middling quality in the future. And I hope you found the video helpful.